Happy, happy Saturday, everyone. Glad that we are here in Satsang. Um, yeah, let's quickly go through the overview. And then today I was thinking I'll talk about a topic which, you know, if you have any, uh, you know, examples, stories, quotes that you can share on the topic. You can then become part of authoring this new article that I'm writing. And that is, so we'll talk about that. You know, the thought that was coming to me was everyone here is a host. So we collectively host each other in some ways. Um, and this community needs to support each other. So in that process, we work on explaining these concepts to each other as well. We'll talk about that, but for now, satsang, again, because it doesn't come naturally, satsang, being with the transcendental energy, is the literal translation. Now, being with Sat is a process and a destination. And the process part, is made up of multiple things, including meditation, which is at the core, but then, some guidance, some service, and some practice that we evolve from, ourselves so that we continue to, the goal is that we imbibe Sat to a point where we not only get to the higher ground, but stay on the higher ground. So the ability to store, ability to replenish, ability to receive, all that is as important as getting to some point during the meditation. Inward orientation is key, because we naturally just, when we try to meditate, our mind goes all over the place because that's natural, but our goal is to bring it to one thought or even go deeper than that and even forget about that thought. So, you know, um, similarly, we are searching for peace outside. We got to flip that, look inwards, and that's the key. And then group sessions, obviously, that's, for in this process, I think that's the lifeline, and joy and inner happiness. We talk about that. That's not just you know being in a joyous state all the time is the destination, but just making sure that the inner happiness, the happiness that's not connected to um, outwardly things, our normal state needs to continue to rise. That's what we need to keep an eye on. So today, we'll talk a little bit about something that many years ago I actually talked about in one of um, the big gatherings in India, and thought was that comparison and competition is a very, worldly concept and not necessarily a spiritual concept. While I see all the time that it plays a part in our progress, even spiritual progress. So but you know, something playing a part versus something becoming um, a norm or a pattern or even more ingrained than that. That's what we need to keep an eye on. So, as a few people just started to join today, this is a very raw, um, set of thoughts that I want to share. I want that people uh, send me back any thoughts, comments, even codes, which I can include in my Substack article eventually when um, I publish this. Uh, so think of this as, so I have included my email in the chat. Uh, Send uh, input back to the email. So any relevant experience, and I'll anonymize it, and any thoughts around it, quotes that you might have heard. And sometimes we come across good anecdotes. So if any of that comes across, please share. So coming back to this topic of comparison, competition, and the spiritual path. So we compare our lives with uh, someone else's life. We compare our progress with someone else's progress. We compare our peace, our success, even what's happening in the families, health, even in spiritual journey. So from comparison, competition often follows. What I also observed, interestingly, we live in the world of social media. And what I found, people I know personally struggling with X, Y, and Z, that struggle never shows up on social media that way. But what shows up is they're having a vacation somewhere, they're having a gala time, and those, so when somebody is looking at that, they're saying, wow, they're having, the best life on earth, which is in some cases far from the truth. So, what would that actually do to other people who see that? Comparison, competition, envy, and misplaced one. So, that's the key. So, and I'm not saying that that's always the case, but um, it's actually more often than not. Um, uh, because we all uh, are fighting our own day-to-day fights. Um, so anyway, so you know, uh, so who is ahead? Who's better? Who's more respected? Who has more? Who has advanced more? Who's more spiritual? This may seem natural in the world, and in worldly life, comparison and competition are everywhere in school, in career, in money, in position, in recognition. And society teaches us to measure ourselves constantly. And that, to some degree, I mean, as we are growing, we need some way to continue to do what needs to be done, but that becomes a lifestyle. Um, and because so spirituality begins at a point where this measuring mind starts to be regulated. And why? Because comparison takes us outwards, keeps our attention on others. It makes mind restless. It creates jealousy, pride, disappointment, insecurity, and even sometimes, fear shows up. If someone appears ahead of us, we could be feeling small, and I mean, I can go on this. So, and even there are things that we see which we should become, which should bring empathy in us. We find that somebody is not where they need to be. And sometimes that fuels the ego, makes us feel superior, and so on and so forth. So uh, the spiritual path is not about being greater than the other person, it's about becoming free from the need to be greater. A person may sit in meditation and still be competing. A person may speak very humbly and still be comparing. A person may even do service and seva in, and inwardly want to be seen, appreciated, and admired. And and I say this very humbly, but my observation of thousands and thousands of people, this is not an outlier. This is not something that I'll have to go and figure. This is an observation that is more true than not. Um, and that's the human nature. So the real question is not only what am I doing? The deeper question is from where within me I'm doing this. If I pray to appear spiritual, that is ego. If I serve to be praised, that's ego. If I meditate that I can feel better than others in some way. So uh, spirituality should teach that we become truer within ourselves. So real satsang, go inwards, right? Now, for that moment, you're shutting off all this noise. And we're not here to get bigger, better, defeat someone, all that, or outshine someone. We are here to purify our heart, quieten the mind, deepen our love, become more sincere, and get closer to the truth. So there is no yardstick that we need to bring here. What we need to. So another thing I uh, have observed, I don't know, it's I'm getting out on a limb and saying this, but it's people come and say where they are. And I'm saying, like even the kids, when they go for the exam or a test, um, the teachers tells them where they are. You don't self-evaluate in these tests. But for most part, in their practice, everybody seems to be self-evaluating, which, you know, um, anyway, I think where that is headed. Um, so, so I think there is more, but it's the whole thing is that uh, even when we look at comparison, competition is not too far out. You know, uh, so it's the progress. I think we need to again look more. I think the thoughts here was, if the right effort and the right effort would be, am I becoming more honest? Am I becoming more peaceful? Am I becoming more loving and compassionate? And am I becoming less reactive? Is my remembrance getting deeper and better? Um, so Um, I think we'll talk more about that once I get some additional input and think a little more about this subject. But it's a fascinating subject because um, you know if we look at um, comparison and competition, um, I think what we were talking about here is that jealousy, pride, disappointment, insecurity, all those things are not too far away. So um, it's better to look inwards, calm yourself down, and focus on getting on a higher ground for ourselves, for our own peace, for our own growth, rather than, you know, do that because we want to be comparing it with something outside. All right. On that note, let's practice. So eyes lightly closed and still and relaxed posture. And now feel the presence of this transcendental energy from a conscious source that's not far away, but right here, right now. And this transcendental energy in form of light is entering in your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're getting completely and totally immersed with this light. When mind wanders away, which it will, bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that this transcendental energy in form of light is entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you're becoming one with this light. We'll start with music that helps concentration, and then music fades away and we go deep into silent meditation, and then we transition over to music again. Let's start. Happy Saturday, everyone. Your time now. I kind of gave a lot of food for thought for today. Hopefully you'll send me, apart from discussing here, you'll send me some things that seem to be relevant for the topic. So any thoughts, comments, questions? Wow, Christy is the brave one here.
I thought I'd wait to see if anyone wanted to join in. I'm here with my new friend.
All right.
This is Cairo, my rescue cat. Um, hello, by the way. Hello, Sanjeev ji. Hello, everyone. Um, that was good food for thought, definitely. I know in the past I really have compared myself to others, especially when I was a caregiver for my mum and I wasn't dating. I didn't get engaged, didn't get married, didn't have children. And obviously, at all family events, weddings, you get asked the questions, oh, are you married? Oh, it's time for you to find someone. And, you look around at other family members your age, and I'd be like, oh, I should probably be where they are. And I didn't give myself any slack because I was caring for my mum full time. It was almost I'd have maybe 4 hours sleep a day, 7 days a week, because I'd be caring for her so much. So comparison can really drain you of your confidence and acknowledging where you're actually at and what you're doing yourself. So I think I managed to get out of that, but it's very easy to fall into. It really is. Spiritually, I'm not sure. That's a difficult one.
Yeah, no, spiritually, it's even more damaging.
Yeah,
Can
definitely.
or can be. I'm not saying it.
I think it can really stop you going onto your higher ground and kind of keep you feeling stuck. And sometimes I am worried about sharing stuff on the community page because I don't want people to compare and be like, oh, she's doing this and she's doing that. But then I think to myself, I'm not doing it to brag. I'm hoping that it will encourage people to just step out of the box and try if they're able to. So I'm very wary
Yeah.
of that side of things.
The thing is, if the community evolves in the right manner, and by which I mean, Guru Maharaj kind of created a family atmosphere where there is a bond, there is uh, you know, that love and compassion and all that in the community itself, in terms of, you know, the ability to connect, understand with empathy, and so on and so forth, right? So if we have that, then uh, it should be more empathy than comparison and competition. And
Yeah,
that makes all the difference.
it
Um,
does.
so
Mm.
yeah,
It's
and
definitely something I do want to sit with it and see if I am still somehow comparing myself without really realizing it.
no, what I think I found early on very interesting is that um, see, we are humans, and humans have inherently these emotions, feelings, and a lot of times all these things can come to help you in some way, shape, or form. They are if they were just tools in the toolkit, and you knew when to use what, then you're in good shape. But when they drive certain patterns and behaviors, that is a different story. So I was talking about anger in a very, it's like something that can really consume you, and it does. But then somebody said, no, we will always have anger, and anger can be utilized to send some messages in the right, when it's appropriate, to make amends, and it may be a good use. So for everything, there is a good use and not so good use.
Exactly. I mean, like you said earlier, we are human, so we have the human emotions within us. We can't rid ourselves of that. So it's just how we use them and what we learn from them when we're experiencing them. I think that's quite important. And also something like jealousy or envy, although it's quite negative, you can also use it to be motivation to
But
improve
but that is
yourself.
but that is what I question. I think
Mm,
um, you can be motivated by a negative emotion, or you could be motivated by either a sense of duty or a sense of uh, becoming a better person rather than
mm.
a better person vis-a-vis somebody else,
Yes.
right? So can I be better than who I am today, tomorrow? Yeah,
Yeah.
rather than, uh, yeah. So
I guess that's like the athletes, isn't it? They
you're
they
right.
go by their personal best,
Yeah. I
not
mean, there
someone
is
else's personal
competition
best.
and there is competition and comparison there, but
Yeah.
it is that I want to be better. And then, it's like there are so many things that are outside of our control. If we don't try to control those things, then, you are doing the right thing, and you are okay with the result that turns out to be,
Yeah,
because not everything is in your control.
exactly. Interesting. I hope I hope other people will
Yeah,
talk about
Biju
this
is
because it's interesting. Come on, guys, come forward. I want to be nosy and hear what you're going to say because it is something that we all experience. So please share. I'm gonna I'm going on silent now. I'm turning my mic off.
Sure, that's no, thank you for that. I don't know, it's such a interesting conversation and discussion, and it is just an observation that I've had when I look at people, folks who are reached some level in their own respective fields. What I've interacting with them, what I've found out, what I've seen is they rarely ever talk about something or someone else. And I don't know whether you get to that stage of um, materialistic accomplishment by not having any of the negative feeling, or you get to that stage in life and then not compare yourself to someone else. I don't know which comes first. My thought is it is the former that comes first, that they are just in their own world. I'm doing what I can do. And I rarely, some of these people, they barely compare themselves to anyone else. At least I've not heard them in personal conversations. So it is very interesting that I have found. And I also think that every human emotion that we have taken to an extreme, because it is just finding the right balance and
Yeah.
how we use that. Even whatever is a negative emotion like jealousy or envy, if we take that in a sense that how can I use this to or so that I get better, is my observation and my thoughts. I would like to get your thoughts and beauty on this.
No, you bring a whole new dimension to this, which is, um, would an accomplishment make me stop comparing and competing? And and it's a catch-22 kind of thing that you talked about, like, does that happen first or this happens first? But it's I'll have to think over that a little. It's somehow I have also met people who are accomplished and still not very satisfied, or still competing to a point where, you know, it becomes like, so where is the, I mean, will you be just running and running and running? And interesting point. But I actually have seen personally that, you know, there are ways in which lack of something or inadequacy driving you to accomplish more, then, so that's, I have observed. But then I have also, you know, what I have read and what I have seen, Guru Maharaj did enormous number of things in terms of setting up a printing press, writing so freely, and numerous books, traveling so much. But what was behind it was a directive from his guru that you need to do this, rather than, you know, I'm competing with that or I'm comparing with that. It was, it became his purpose of life, his duty that he thought was his job to do. And he just kept thinking about how to get better in doing it. And in that process, he did things that were very unique. So if you want to be more creative and more, you know, like, I think you're kind of saying there are people who just did it so differently and so, you know, and they're sitting somewhere, but there is no comparison because they just decided this is what I want to create, and they're just happy with that creation. But the difference between a worldly accomplishment like that versus a spiritual accomplishment is that one does for oneself versus one does for a greater good. So there is a difference. And that difference is that, you know, am I doing this for myself or am I doing this for a broader community? And, or because, you know, I owe my guru whatever he taught me, etc. So he wants me to do this. This becomes my life's purpose.
Yeah, it's interesting and quite deep. Yeah, that's.
So,
I don't think we'll solve this in the next 15 minutes, but it's really deep. It is very deep. It is very deep. Yeah. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on this. Thank you.
very, very, yeah. It's actually, yeah. And it's deep and it's worth thinking about because we do not see that every day, and we do not, we're not driven to think that way either. But in spiritual realm, I have seen evidences of that even written, there are books and examples where, you know, it's like, oh, why am I doing this? Just because. So there is a sense of service and there is a sense of like it's in a giving back, but in an interesting way. It's giving back to your guru as a you know, you taught me all this, so I'll share this with everyone else because you also asked me to share all this, rather than, you know, I want to be on the top of this, blah blah blah.
Yeah, thanks.
So anything else before we wrap up today? But any thoughts, questions, comments, stories, quotes that can go along with it. But I'll, you know, once it gets into a shape of a Substack article, I'll definitely share. Very well. So love, light, and peace be with you. And, you know, I'm glad that we were here in Satsang, and see you all soon. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Namaste, bhaiya. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Sanju, shall I stay here or?
Yeah, give me 2 minutes. I'll be back.
Okay, that's fine.
नमस्कार सर।
Namaskar. Namaskar. Namaskar, Geeta. Namaskar, Jeeta.
नमस्कार सर।
Bye, Jeff. Namaskar, Renuji, Bhanu, Omkar, Abhishek, AC, Sia, Peru.
नमस्कार भैया सभी को।
प्रणाम भैया।
Namaskar.
प्रणाम।
सादर प्रणाम भैया,
Namaskar.
आप सभी को सादर प्रणाम।
प्रणाम भैया।
Namaskar. Namaskar, Poonam ji, Pooja ji, Pooja. So, Arvindi, we didn't get to you. Namaskar.
Namaskar, bhaiya. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
I haven't thought on it. Well, have a good day.
Oh, yes, Jeff, take care.
What is my wonderful video of that meeting was wonderful.
Thank
We
you.
were being quiet on talking about how those thoughts we were doing.
Awesome.
Good day.
Have a good day. Great. Take care.